All right, so as you see on the screen, Abu is about to get massacred. Like, it's going to be very devastating. But we don't care. We're going to be talking about Golden Week here. I have Halberd with me. Hi, Halberd.
Hi.
Yeah, and Halberd, if you know, he does Dokkan math stuff, calculations. And I just feel like getting another person here on the discussion about this week's Golden Week. I said this year's Golden Week. A lot of people this year have been very upset about the Golden Week celebration. So what I'm going to be doing here is we're going to take a retroactive look at the past month. Since now everything's happened, we got a good glimpse of the overall view for Golden Week. And now we could actually discuss, hey, was this Golden Week celebration a failure in terms of the characters, or did they actually end up doing overall well? No, did I bring up any of the free-to-play characters that were tied to World Tournament? Just cause, I mean, free-to-play characters usually are doomed, right? I don't know. World Tournament characters, I don't know.
Yeah, they don't do well typically.
Yeah, it's just a thing where I don't really think there's anything like noteworthy about any of them anyways, but we're going to talk about the actual characters and the main ones that people are talking about in terms of the EZAs, Super EZAs, and of course the main characters, which were the first two we're going to be jumping into here. So this is Int Hit. Now, before we talk about Int Hit specifically, we're going to look at what the community voted for, and I went with 4 different rankings that people could select: good, mediocre, underwhelming, and bad, right? So I think self-explanatory. A lot of people nowadays view mediocre as straight up bad, right? But in reality, they're just kind of average, right? At least that's how I feel about it personally here. But Int Hits. So this is what the community is thinking here. Actually, okay, I didn't put mediocre, my bad. I'm kind of stupid, I guess. Great, good, underwhelming, and bad. So there's actually 0.6% people voted bad. What do you think about that?
I'm gonna be honest. I think that's literally just people that didn't pull him.
Maybe it could be true. People that just don't have them, or maybe they're just upset. But there's varying opinions in this community. So this has 478 votes in total, and yeah. So I mean, it seems like a majority of the opinion for this guy is very positive, which makes a lot of sense. This character, I think, is very easy and simple to use. He's not restricted too much. At most, this intro animation is kind of like, oh, you do want some of these allies, but it's just characters that are on the team rather than on rotation or anything like that, right?
I feel like that's a good thing too, because a lot of characters in the past have been like undeservingly shafted by an ally requirement, like in the rotation on the turn.
Yeah, like
And that sucks.
Kid Goku is an example of that, right? If we take a look at the
Yeah,
Dokkan Fest in AGL Kid Goku, right here, he doesn't want them attacking in the same turn. And
yeah, and that sucks, because like if that was just on the team, then it would apply to the friend lead of himself, and then you would be okay.
exactly, because the thing about his team is there's not really a lot of characters in this range that are really relevant right now, and you're just going to be running like, the Vegetos, right? Or I say the Vegetos, the Vegito, Gogeta, Super Saiyan 2 Gohan here, Blue Goku and Goku, even the EGL one. Like, there are Super Saiyan 4 Goku here. Like, there's characters you'll run here that aren't necessarily on these categories. So especially even if you're not running this guy on the team, like on his own team, I mean, it's going to be very difficult to get this, even if you have another one of these characters on there, right? So that's the thing about Hit. It's a little easier, plus this category is just wider, and his best linking partners are going to be these characters. I guess that's the same for Kid Goku, but it's just going to be a little bit easier to actually have that activate, especially if you're running him as a leader. There's going to be another Universe 6 category ally in the team, so he's just always going to get this instantly. Another thing with Hit is that he has a team protector ability, which I feel like over the past few months we haven't really been getting many characters with that. like a team protector kind of ability. Like Cell's revive is like kind of selfish in that sense. Kid Goku doesn't really protect the team in any way like that. I mean, we see Vegito has a team protector ability. Super Saiyan 3 Goku kind of does. But no one else really from the 10th anniversary even has a mechanic like that. So having this hit provide that Ghost Usher is really huge, I feel like. Plus, he does pretty significant damage too.
Yeah, it's a lot of value for him to have because Hit's one of those units. We don't get them very often either, which sucks. But he's one of those units that does like he kind of dips his toe in like everything. Like he does a little bit of everything.
Exactly right.
And having that Usher is very, very huge. It's just such a big deal for that team because the team is strong. Like the team, I'm not gonna say the team is in a spot where it literally needs that Usher. Like it requires that Usher to get through content because it doesn't. His team's strong enough. But you know, there are times where units on his team could have a bad turn, or if they're orb dependent. Like example, STR Kefla. Right? If she doesn't get 6 orbs, she's missing 20% of her dodge, so she could just get clapped. But, like, if you have bad orb luck, it won't matter, because it just has a Ghost Usher.
Plus, characters who are dodge reliant, like the S tier Caulifla in some scenarios, will be able to just completely avoid that for bosses that cancel dodge, like the EGO during and the S tier during fights. Which, by the time, not only will that be a Ghost Usher that'll protect your allies, but it will do some pretty decent damage itself, on top of giving him just extra damage throughout the entire turn because of this part of his passive. I think it all works really well. He has crit, dodge, and additionals built in, stacking character, debuffs, so it makes him useful, you know, in like battle hardened foes even. There's a lot that he has going for him. So I think this hit, they did a really good job with him, and it's really nice considering that people were waiting for another hit from this specific saga for a while. So they definitely did well, and you could tell by the community's feelings on him that there's not really issues with this kit. I mean, you could say 1 or 2 things that can stand out, but it's not that big of a deal, I think, for the most part. Hit's incredible. So yeah, that's just my opinion about Hit, and the community pretty much agrees. Now we can talk about Tech Blue Kaioken Goku here. Ceaseless Combat Super Saiyan Goddesses Goku Kaioken. This guy, well, actually, we could also take a look at, well, before we get to him, there's some quotes here from Hits. Just 8.5 out of 10. Yeah, see, again, people are just favoring him. This guy, not so much. A lot of people hate him. And you could see from the results of this poll, there's a very stark difference. There's a couple people who do like him, you know, in a very favorable way. But as we see, it's 14% of the community in total. 63% of, again, basically nearly 500 votes think he's underwhelming, and then 23% think he's just straight up bad. Sounded like you want to say something.
Yeah, I'm just simmering on that because I agree with the majority here. I would say he's underwhelming. I'm so undecided on him. Like, still, I have him. I've used him a lot, and I'm still undecided on where I would place him. To me, he's like textbook mid. Like, he's a 5 out of 10. But I feel like he has situations where he looks like a 6.5, maybe a 7. He also has situations where he literally looks like a 0. Yeah. So I'm kind of just in between on him. To me, Goku literally seems like a unit that they built for last year and he just never released.
It just feels like he's missing that extra push to really make him a good or top tier unit even. I think I see the general design and the thought of it. There's a lot of things that are kind of working against each other in a sense, where it's like, you know, he has this tech key sphere orb changing, which then, you know, he has like these different buffs depending on if he's higher HP or lower HP. Like, there's turns you can get both of these because he lowers his own HP, but then it's just kind of annoying having to play around this because maybe sometimes you heal too much to even get the attack buff, or you heal too little to even get the defense buff, to where it feels like they're kind of tending for you to, okay, you stay at like right under 70% HP, and then you just heal above it with the Techie spheres you obtain, and then you keep doing that. But then it feels like that's not accounting for boss super attack damage, right? And he wants a specific setup for Reps Universe 7. They didn't even give anyone else besides these three right here, right? And I don't know, it's like they did provide a lot of buffs to this team, but I feel like it's always been very top heavy in a sense, where it's like, you know, this 18 was good on release, this Shape Up Boo was good on release, even this Piccolo was pretty decent, but like at this point they're about to be a year old, and we just got into a 10th anniversary kind of leadership jump in power, where some of these characters are kind of like holding on a little, are not really that relevant anymore. I mean, you could tell by the fact that they just gave us a new Piccolo straight up, right? So
Yeah.
it kind of feels like that, where it's like, I think the team just as a matter of options rather than a matter of these units being bad or good. And you know, it's not like these characters who are basically a year and a half old now, right? Pretty much getting close to that year and a half time frame.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They're still decently good to even just being very like AJ Goku is still quite relevant, because that's just how his design is gonna work, especially in short content. But he's not gonna be like the character that could just carry your team, you know? I think that's what this guy wanted to be, but it almost feels like they designed him in a way where he's just an addition to the Universe 7 Reps team rather than the actual like game changer carrier, right?
Yeah, that's why I said like he just feels like he was supposed to release last year, because all of those massive buffs for his team all happened like consecutively for like what, 6 months straight.
Yeah, exactly.
He would have been great there. And like you look at his defense and such, and it's like, this is a guy that could have stood in front of Goku and Frieza and been impressive.
It's almost
But-
like the characters from last year's Golden Week and this year's Golden Week should have switched.
Literally, yes.
Because right now, I mean, it's not like because at the end of last year we got Gotenks and stuff like that, and it's like, okay, if they did do that little switch, then it's not like the Majin Buu Saga team would have needed that last year. But then this year it could have been like, oh yeah, the Majin Buu Saga team's like looking really good right now, especially with Tech Vegito. And then the previous year, it's this category could have been really like, this guy could have been really good for superheroes. This guy could have been, well, where's Hit? Hit could have been really good for super bosses, right? It feels like this is what the teams wanted last year, and then Golden Week last year was what teams would have kind of liked this year in a bit. It's just kind of funny.
Yeah, mind you, also, Goku does lead reps of U7 and full power. Beast Gohan is on full power.
Yeah, he is. I really would have, like, yeah, I don't know. And the thing is that with this guy, there's an easy way to make him good. Just make him stack attack and defense. And the thing is that I don't understand why they didn't, because I don't really see the vision of where is this character supposed to be super relevant in. Like with a lot of characters this year, you could very easily tell, okay, they have this part of their kit because they want them to be good in this event. Like it's very often and very common with that. Like Hit, again, we see, oh, he has that debuff to be good in battle hardened foes. He has the stacking and Ghost Usher, which will be super useful in the battle hardened foes fight, right? Or even Red Zone. But this guy doesn't have any mechanics where I'm like, oh yeah, he has no debuffs, he has no ceiling, he doesn't stack, he doesn't have a build-up passive. Like, he has the revive skill that eventually he'll get these buffs, but this is also an issue because all this is doing is just giving you back what you lose from the intro.
It just gives him back his intro.
Like, he gets 20% extra crit and dodge, which is really cool. Like, I'm not gonna say that's bad, but it's not like a game changer addition, right? It's very funny. It's literally because these aren't calculated as like multiplicative, like this 170% defense. This would do discount as a starter turn buff, which is what this is. So he kind of just doesn't get better. He kind of just stagnates and stays the same throughout the entire fight, which, you know, earlier on in fights is cool, but I feel like for most of the fights that are available, it kind of doesn't matter. Right?
Yeah, it doesn't. The thing that confuses me the most about his entire kit is the fact that he makes, like, okay, when you go into a standby, he makes a full field of orbs. Obviously, you know, he gets stuff off of that, and you put him in slot 1, he's gonna dodge literally everything, get some attacks off, and then purposefully he dies and then gets a big attack off. His standby, like his revive attack, does good damage. His standby does not do good damage at all, and his base does pretty middling damage. But he changes key spheres to tech in base, and then the only bonus he gets off of that is with one tech key sphere, he gets attack plus 100% and an additional. Why doesn't he get any more key sphere bonuses like 3, 5, 7? He makes his own orbs. It makes no sense. It's like part of him is just missing.
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like some parts of him is really missing to where he could really be a complete character, is what I like also said, right? And it's like, okay, if they wanted to make him like straight up like good from the start of the fight, why doesn't he like have any debuffs or ceiling like for battle hardened foes, where it's like, oh, you know, he could be useful earlier on, like that's why he doesn't build up. He's straight up just a good unit, or in these like shorter fights could have been interesting, but no, I don't know. Like if we think about him in the hardest fights right now, let's think about him in the both the Jiren fights and the, you know, Goku story, Vegeta story, like Supreme Magnificent, or not, the red zones, right? He's kind of reliant on dodge, and with that in mind, you know, those bosses just straight up cancel the dodge, so it kind of like this almost doesn't matter here. A lot of the characters on his team is relying on dodge, but he doesn't really do anything to kind of assist with that. He kind of is reliant on Tech UI Goku to provide the dodge disable, but then he himself is not doing enough damage to carry you through those 3 turns to where the Tech UI Goku domain will still be up. And then it'll run out, and then all these characters that are, you know, relying on dodge kind of lose that. It would have been really interesting if maybe like on rotation post revival skill, it's like, oh, he disables the enemy ability to disable dodge, right? That could have been something that could have been like, oh, really, really useful for this guy, but I don't know. In short,
it'd be very valuable for his team.
It would be. I don't know. I feel like this guy just doesn't really mesh well with some of the fights right now.
He doesn't. He's in such a strange spot. He's not great for short fights. He's literally unusable in long fights, and like the content they want him in, which is like mid-range, like 5 to 9 turns kind of stuff. He's mid in that. Like his target content, he's mid in.
It's just he doesn't have the stats to compete with some of these other characters. Like, I mean, we could literally take a look at some of the characters released in the past 3 months. Like, he doesn't shoot out like 50 mil attack stats like AGL Cell can. He doesn't, you know, like sit in slot 1 as an invincible character like S tier Cell can, right? He even like, you know, AGL Pycon, like he sits there supporting with a Ghost Usher. Janemba is doing more damage than this guy can do in a lot of turns, right? Kid Goku is sitting in slot 1 invincible, Wells doing the same kind of damage as this guy, right? I feel like, or even greater, especially
eventually just outclassing him by like turn 5.
Yeah, pretty much, right? And again, all these characters are also not restricted to a certain team, where this guy wants a full Raps Universe 7 team. And I'm gonna say even Daima Vegeta, like, I wouldn't say that this guy is necessarily better, but you could tell he has a clear purpose in terms of short content. In turn 1, he has a 90% reduction in a Scouter. right? And then he does provide support. Like if you're talking about like this guy maybe in short fights, like let's say battle hardened foes, this guy's a leader in those short fights. He's turn 1 invincible in that slot 1, which can be useful, right? And it's like I could see, okay, maybe this guy's kind of like there's a part of his past where it's like, oh, this is where he could be useful in. I feel like this guy probably is maybe a little better than this guy, but I'm not gonna say like they're even too far off from each other. He feels purposeless.
Yeah, he. The people that I see like glaze him too on Twitter, they mainly talk about like his attack, and I don't know. I don't get it. Like I've seen the numbers, I don't get it. I feel like they like to purpose build units thematically to what they were like in the series. Like that's the reason, you know, Hit dodges because he has time skip, of course. But if Goku was gonna be a Kaioken times 10, why is he only greatly on super attack? Why is it not massive?
Yeah,
just one of many things I question. Like it should just be massive. Like at least
if it wasn't gonna be stacking. Like honestly,
yeah,
massive 3 turns.
Yeah, it makes no sense that it's not, because if it was massive 3 turns, the next turn he came around, his start of turn defense would be ridiculous. He would be hitting 50, 60 millions. He would be the unit he needs to be.
Or, you know, I mean, we've seen characters get 200% defense when receiving an attack. Like, you know, Caulifla, the Age-O Kid Goku. Hit gets defense when receiving an attack. Why is this guy suddenly, oh, he has to attack for his defense? And then we like take a look at the slot 1 characters on his team, and this guy's not slot 1. This guy barely could be slot 1, maybe turn 1. This guy is dodge or die, and we're talking about these two as your slot 1s. You have to have this guy to disable dodge for specific turns, but then it's not like this guy's doing the damage or anyone else is really doing the new level of damage that you need to really push the team so that the 3 turns last, right? That's where this guy fails. He doesn't fill a role. Like, he should have been a slot 1. Like, he should have just done everything like Hit does. Like, I'm sorry, that's...
I mean, there's no other way to say it. He should have been of equal value to Hit. Maybe a little less, because he's way more interchangeable, and he's a Goku unit, you know? He's gonna be plug and play on, like, 700 teams, where Hit is not going to be. So if Hit was like a little better still, it's like, okay, yeah, that's fine. But Hit should not be a top unit in the game, while Goku is just like a banner unit.
The thing is that Hit has the Ghost Usher compared to this guy's revival skill. This guy's revival skill resets the turn in a different way than Hit. Hit pushes the turn back, which is more valuable because all your characters still attack. It's much more valuable than a standby revive, where this character will only do his own attack and then the rest of the rotation can attack either, right? And the thing with Hit's, you know, Scouter on top of that is that you're gonna know where the super attack is next turn, or if there's no super. Like, Hit has a Scouter plus the Ghost Usher. This guy is just kind of skipping for the turn rather than pushing the opponent back. Does that make sense? I think that's where you could say it would still probably be better if this guy stacked. And that's all they changed about him. Like, even if this guy stacked, Hit would still be a better character, I feel.
Yeah, 100%. Int Hit literally just feels like a Dokkan Fest version of, like, Int Chilai.
Int Hit is just super good. Also, we have someone who joined us. Mike, your boy Mike is here. If you want to say
hello.
Anything. Yeah.
I think the other thing that sucks too is if you want to, can you just pull up the Representatives Universe 7 again? The thing that sucks again too is just like, you look at this team, right? And there's so many new additions, and we haven't gotten a single slot 1 since AGL MUI. And it happens all the time where it's like the slot 1 is so such a what is it called? It's an important role, right? And like, we're having to use units from over a year ago that have gotten EZAs, you know? And it's so frustrating that it's just like they know that it's something we have to use, and it's like, oh, they drop Go Frieza and Goku can go in slot 1, but it's only after turn 4. They drop all of these units that can go in slot 1, like the Tech Super Saiyan Blue after he goes into standby. but it's only after he gets his transformation, right? So it's like, why do they keep doing this? Why do they keep
to be fair,
dropping like semi-slot
the
ones?
thing about this guy is that he also wants to be high HP, the Goku specifically, because if you take a look here, Goku wants to be at 77% HP or more to get defense when receiving an attack. And again, this another character when you're receiving an attack for defense, right? But then this guy wants to be eventually getting under that HP threshold. So it's just kind of clashing. Or this guy lowers their HP enough to where this guy might not be able to get his extra 77% HP start of turn. And then this guy will end up like losing this. It's just very weird. There's a lot of changes I'll kind of make with this guy. But yeah. And obviously, again, people in general just don't like what this guy is looking like. If we take a look at some of the quotes here for this character, 9 out of 10.
Interesting.
I mean, this is all true to an extent. I would even say the leader skill isn't necessarily bad. Full power is good. It's just this reps restriction that's kind of stupid. It should just be superclass if they were going to add a restriction.
I'm just a little confused on 9 out of 10. Standby should hit 10 times harder.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like a 9 out of 10 to me.
Exactly. By himself, he's at least usable, but as a leader, forget it. He'll underrun. I mean, by himself, can't really say that because you have to run him in reps. And I mean, realistically, he's the best reps leader. So when you use him, you're going to use him as a leader.
I feel like by himself, he's worse.
I mean, yeah, because he needs the reps team.
Yeah, like by himself, he's just worse.
So
This guy sucks.
4.5 out of 10. 8 out of... Whoa, why is there so... Dude, okay, well, this guy's a Blue Goku profile, but...
I was about to say... Crazy the
Wait,
Glazer,
why is this guy?
by the
Why
way.
is this guy? Yeah, glazing him, and then the profile picture in question.
Yeah, well, it's like okay, look at the profile picture. It's Blue Kaioken, 7.5 out of 10. You go up 1 to a non-Blue Kaioken PFP, and the rating is higher. Like, what the hell?
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, Blue Kaioken. I'm sure many people do agree that he is underwhelming, but that is that. Here's Physical Magetta. A lot of people didn't like him, so we'll see what his ranking is. Oh my goodness, straight up bad, 80%.
Oh yeah, that stinks.
Let's call this guy stinky, straight up bad. Let's take a look at some of the quotes here as well. Let's see. Dead out of 10. LOL. Trash out of 10. Okay. Here's my take on this. I think he's decent. I don't think he's as... Like, I don't think he's straight up bad. I won't say underwhelming. The thing that people are focusing on, of course, is that he gets stunned for 3 turns on super. And I feel like this guy was intended to be slot 1. So if you view him as his intended slot 1 role, he's definitely bad. But the full U6 team is actually not terrible right now. Funny enough, it's arguably in a better spot than the Universe 7 team. I feel like
Yeah.
these 3 obviously massively help, but this guy in a full Universe 6 team, he has the guard plus the multi-turn multiplicative support, plus he has what, the 50% reduction, which is 70% against 1 super first. And if he gets supered, when he comes back around, he won't be stunned anymore as a floater, because it's just for the 3 turns, right? Which, you know, by the time he comes back around, would be a 4th turn. So honestly, this guy is not even like terrible. I think the issue with him is, you know, Universe 6 is going to rapidly age bad, and then he can't really provide these buffs. If this was like for 2 turns, then I think he would actually be quite useful, like in a good way. But unfortunately, you can tell they designed him to be your slot 1 character, and he doesn't fulfill that role because he has this stupid, dumb, like, stun. It's really stupid. This is just like stupid. This is just really bad. But I feel like this is enough, plus this, to actually say I would call underwhelming rather than straight up. What do you all think?
Okay. I have quite a few opinions about Magetta because they have set the bar so egregiously high in the past for banner units. Some of the greats, like STR Krillin, who dropped with Tech World Tournament Goku, an absolute fucking hitter. One of the best banner units of all time. He literally felt like another Dokkan Fest next to Goku. You look at the 2022 Worldwide, the STR Piccolo that came out with Birdku, and it's like, okay, this guy's incredible. You know, he had guard and everything else and was tanking like when nobody else was, and he was just a random banner unit. And they give you this precedent where banner units can be incredible. They can be a really, really solid leg for a not so great team to stand on and rely on because they're supporting or they're slot one-ing, they're fulfilling some kind of role that the team might need. And that is the purpose of a banner unit. That's their sole purpose, is whatever they're releasing with, help what you're releasing with.
Mm-hmm.
And he does that, but he doesn't do it enough. And we'll get into it later with the U6 girls, because I have a lot to say about them because of all the festival runs that I've been doing. But there are things with him that I feel like they started on the right track, but they didn't keep going. Like his support, for example, it's phase 2 because it's on super and it's 40%. It's 20% defense and 20% attack. But like you look at U6 and it's like, dude, if you want to run full U6 right now, you're still running Tech Caulifla. That's like a 4-year-old banner unit. Like, dude, the team's not in the greatest spot right now. Are you telling me that 2 turns or that phase 2 support couldn't have been for 2 turns? And it also couldn't have been higher than 20%?
It should be 40% bare minimum. And for 2 turns, right? I like,
yeah.
There's definitely ways they could make this guy like actually good. But I think people act like he's like, you were never ever gonna use him ever.
No, I think that's a vapid overreaction. I don't think he's like the worst thing ever. I just think in the areas he needed to deliver in for a really underwhelming, a really underwhelming team that doesn't get a lot of releases, he should have done more. But yeah, you're right. People harp on that like stunned for 3 turns shit, but then they'll sit there and the entire time Tech Broly was the best unit or the best extreme unit in the game, nobody said anything about the fact that he just couldn't super his first turn.
I mean, yeah.
Like it doesn't matter. The unit doesn't have to super. If they can just sit there and tank for you, they're still fulfilling a purpose.
I think it's just really silly. This could be like when receiving an attack. It's when attacking.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why it's kind of really stupid in that area. If this is when receiving an attack, even if he had the stun, I wouldn't even care as much, like nearly as much, because I'm like, oh, he's still providing multiplicative support in slot 1 with guard and at least 50% reduction. Like that'd be cool. But yeah, I mean, definitely could have been much better. This should have been 40% when receiving an attack. And that's all that would change, low-key. Like, I'm like, everything else is kind of fine. Maybe that he could have had 60% reduction. But, like, this won't be a big deal if he could at least still provide this. I mean, you would lose this, which sucks, but... I mean...
I would change his orb changing. Nobody on that team needs physical key spheres, not even him. I would just make it rainbow.
Rainbow orbs would be huge, too. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So, there's definitely changes I would make to this guy, but... I mean, if you use him as a floater, he's fine, right? It's not.
Yeah, he's totally fine.
It's not like. Again, I'm in this 10%. I don't know who the fuck called him great. I think you're on something, but yeah.
3%, bro.
AGL Piccolo. Let's take a look at some of the replies here. Good, underwhelming, but see, this is more of what I feel like the general thought of Magetta should be personally. Like 50% of people would agree with underwhelming. 20% think he's good. I mean, let's take a look at some of the. Okay, well, it keeps going back and forth. Twitter is just.
It
all
sounds
fine
like the way you said that you do not think he's good.
I don't like. I don't think this guy's good. I think he's like underwhelming, if anything. I think he's like, to me, he's turn 5 the character, or like turn 7 the character, whatever you want to call it. And I just think it's really stupid because in all these really hard fights, the hardest fight is turn 9 or like turn 4. Like turn like 6 or 7. Who cares? Like you're in the Endurance phase, maybe. You might be in the I don't know, the Ribrian phase or the Caulifla phase. No, not the Ribrian phase, like the Caulifla phase, like at the very end. And like this guy just like will waste his passive in a part of the fight that's not difficult in long fights. And then in short fights, I mean, this guy is not going to do anything but just kind of be a dodge or die. Well, I want to say dodge or die like slot 3, but like he's not gonna get this. I mean, he does have, no, he doesn't have any stun or anything. Like what is he doing in Battle Hardened Foes that stands out besides just like a dodge kind of character in slot 3? That's why I don't like him much. But
yeah, I mean that's valid.
Yeah, because if you put him in slot 1, you can get just massively unlucky.
Yeah, I mean it. Yeah, it can happen. That shit sucks. But like, I feel like intrinsically he actually has the most value in Battle Hardened Formidable Foes as opposed to any other content he could be run in.
Yeah, in that part I would agree. And then, but that's where I'm like he doesn't have anything like debuff wise.
Well, yeah, and that's true, but he is on a team where you could. I mean, there's plenty of units on, you know, the reps teams.
I mean, to be
that
fair,
have
he's not even
debuffs or stunning.
He's not even restricted to reps. Like you could use him on like, I mean, even like demonic power could be decent some of these stages because Slug has stun, Kid Buu has stun, Glorio attack debuffs, like there's Buhan attack debuffs. Like there's characters in like this setup where like, oh, you could just throw this guy on that team maybe. Reps you said has like, I think it's Frieza pretty much, but I don't think anyone else has like stun or anything or attack lowering. It's pretty much just this Frieza card. But yeah, I mean it's 70% chance stun, which is pretty good.
Yeah, that's the thing with Battle Hardened Formidable Foes though, is that every first phase you can just stun lock until the second phase, which can no longer be stunned.
Yeah.
And if you team build like to take advantage of that, it massively helps Piccolo because all of the, you know, for every attack received his DR goes down and his attack goes down. That just doesn't turn 5 and he has all of his stats, and then his stats get to start going down against the phase where he actually needed the stats to begin with. They don't get robbed from the early phase because the early phase isn't attacking at all.
I guess that's true. And then some of these fights or these turns, like reps doesn't do that much damage to where you might not ever see turn 5. So I agree where that's coming from. But yeah, I just think that this guy's like, he's a very niche specific character and I don't really like it in that sense, but he's also like at the same time not restricted to a certain team, which means that at least when it comes to this niche, he could be used on any setup, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to just make like an umbrella like USS team, he does have Cold Judgment. You could just put him next to Hit.
I thought, I don't know. The Vegeta doesn't lead Gift Warriors. The you know, he is on Earthbound Fighters. He's on Successors actually. He's on the 220% Gogeta team.
Oh, this is true.
Yeah, he's not on the Earth Protecting Heroes team though, so he's not actually on the Goku team. My bad, the Vegito, but he's on the Gogeta at 220%. So, I mean, you could just kind of throw him on there, and he's kind of gonna be protected the whole time. I feel like, but
yeah.
It's kind of a thing, and then like if you get to turn 5, then you could be like, oh, now you can get this, right? That's cool.
Oh,
So yeah.
wait, this, honestly, that might be worth testing because he won't have his full.
Like
I
links.
mean, if you go into battle hard and formidable foes and you have Hit next to him, I mean, Hit is stunning. He is just protecting Piccolo and just letting him kind of exist there for free.
I mean, yeah, I could see it then now that you really explain it. But I don't know if I would say good. I think underwhelming fits
No,
best for me.
no, I wouldn't say good. I would say he's definitely underwhelming, especially because Piccolo really doesn't get a whole lot of love in Dokkan.
Yeah, exactly. AGL Super Saiyan God SS Goku EZA. No, I'm gonna say I like this guy, but I think the community's opinion on this guy is that he sucks. I don't see anyone really talk about this guy. I think when people get a floating character, they just don't like the character. Like I don't know. I actually really like this guy as a floating support, especially because sometimes it could be 2-turn support. And there's turns where, I mean, the thing about this guy as a floater compared to him being like an on rotation character, he's not all the time actively like making you lose so much HP, but it's a thing of, oh, your slot 1 or slot 2 character can get hit with a super, and then he brings yourself down to this HP threshold, or he himself could at least, I think, reasonably get under the 77% HP threshold, where he's like gonna be able to do some very well good things for himself, right? But I think a lot of people might not like him. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, I don't understand. Well, I mean, I do understand. Realistically, the reason people don't like him is because of what you said. You have to float him so he doesn't get to sit on rotation and look all, fancy and shiny with massive numbers. And that's the issue, is that people want every single unit to release to sit in slot 1 and do everything, or sit in slot 2 and do everything. And I get it. If you have a unit, you'd like to consistently get value out of them instead of just floating them around all the time. Like, I can understand the thought. However, slot 3 units that don't get you killed are already valuable enough, let alone if they are 2-turn supporting. Let alone if they can have like 90% DR like this guy, and he can also hit pretty hard.
Yeah, especially in the 7th turn. Like, I've seen this guy do some pretty nice attack stats.
Yeah,
He has the crit building,
he's pretty
too.
good.
I like this guy, and he's always double supering.
Yeah, I would say he definitely has a bad rap right now. I think people saw that the tech one wasn't that good. They mentally tied this guy to him, and then they wrote this guy off.
To be fair, the actual votes in this guy are leaning more towards good and great. If you take a look here, 67% people are saying good, which is 7 to 8. So actually, I was surprised because I've seen a lot of people not like this guy on his week of release, but it seems like people kind of maybe ended up favoring towards him.
Yeah, I think that could be it too, and this is something that happens a lot, and I'm sure you see it. I will put out the calcs for characters, and if it's a defensive character with like a lot of DR or guard or like a crazy amount of dodge or something, and they have like a single million defense or something low, something like comically low for 2025, people won't even care what the kit is. They'll just be like, this guy fucking sucks.
Like,
and then they go in game and they use them, and they're like, no, wait, the kit makes sense. This character's great.
Yeah, there's a lot of overreaction before characters release early on, so it just happens a lot. So that's a thing there, but yeah, no, it seems like people do favor this guy. I don't think there's really much to say. He's just a good floating support character. There are a decent amount of extreme class enemies to where he could provide the 2-turn support. He's not, unfortunately, like, okay, imagine if this guy, like, if they changed super attack effects in EZA and he also stacked defense. That'd be crazy.
He'd be so good. And people, would obviously gripe about that. Like, well, if you're supposed to float him in slot 3, he's never going to have time to stack. And it's like, dude, that's not the point.
I mean, it's just better than not having it.
I told someone that in a Twitter reply recently, by the way, that a unit should have had stacking. I can't even remember who it was, and they were like, "Why? Other stuff matters more than festival." And the way I put it was, if you have greatly raising or greatly raising for one turn, which one's better?
It literally, and it's like stacking isn't just like, I feel like when people think of stacking, they think of festival, but these red zone stages are like 10, 12 turns. Stacking is also relevant there, obviously, right? Even in battle hardened foes, having a character that's stacked to the next turn is gonna be better than if they just raised for that previous turn. Like that's
and another another thing too is like, if you don't have like, okay, if you're running a team that may lack some super heavy hitters. Like, for instance, if you're running STR Cell's team, he has Tech Cell, who can hit really hard. If you have good orb luck, he can also just hit kind of average. STR Cell hits kind of average. AGL Cell hits really hard, but he's like the only one on the team who you can truly rely on 100% of the time to just hit really, really hard. So teams like that, where they only have like one guy doing like the majority of the damage,
I mean,
sometimes they'll take 12 to 15 turns in these fights.
yeah. So it just depends. Especially because they're still building a lot of teams up and releasing new characters for this new kind of meta. So I feel like as things fill out, this character is going to be a character that's going to be still seeing a lot of usage, because he is also not restricted to any particular team. So that's a good thing about him as well.
That's true.
Like have like, what if we get like a, I don't know, like, I mean, 90% reduction is hard to age out. So even like next year we get like a Kid Goku Turtle School leader, you can just throw this guy as a floater on the team. It's not like he needs links to operate. He's a character based off of super high damage reduction, right?
Yeah, that's all he needs, and there's a lot of value in that. Like, I can't, and I'm sure you can relate, the amount of times over the years I've been in like a hard event and I just got absolutely fucking hornswoggled by the boss in slot 1 and I had like a little bit of HP left. I don't do enough damage, it gets to my slot 3 and my slot 3 gets me killed. Goku doesn't do that. He lets you get to the next turn.
Yeah, Goku's a pretty consistent slot 3 character. Unless you're in a team that has a lot of healers, but like, I think you wouldn't really run a character on that kind of setup.
Yeah, at that point, that's just a skill issue with team building.
Yeah. STR Hit and Super Saiyan God Goku's EZA. I think people really like this character. Let's take a look at the results here. Yeah, this is probably the, I mean, is he more favored than Hit? Or let's take a look here at Hit. No, Hit's definitely like 70. Hit's 77% great. That's a lot.
Yeah.
People really like that in Hit. Then we see Hit and God Goku closer to good, 64%, but still 28% great. Some people think that he's underwhelming. About 7% think he's underwhelming or bad. Now this character, I think it's just a thing of they have really good stats. And they are dabbling into a little bit of everything. My only thing about this character is I do wish they had built-in crit, but that's pretty much all I would hope for. They're doing what they want to do with the Hit God Goku character, which is really good. I mean, the init character.
Yeah, I actually, even seeing the votes and seeing how they are like unanimously like just good, I actually don't agree. I actually think they're kind of being underrated a little bit.
Yeah, as in like, you think that people like they are actually closer to being great rather than good?
Yeah, because I mean, okay, no matter how you slice it, top 3 TURs right now are Int Hit, AGL, Kid Goku, and EZA Tech Caulifla. And I mean, there's a lot of people that have Int Hit at number 1. And if that's, you know, of your thinking, Int Hit is a link battery for them. Also, just gets to sit in slot 1 and just not die while giving them every link. And they just get to go on an absolute rampage. And they do a ton of damage.
And the thing I think saw a lot of people have an issue with this at first, but these fights last so long, like you're gonna want to stack up with your characters as much as possible. So having this is not a big deal. Oh, I would say the only thing that sucks is that this guy, of course, won't count as Universe 6 character. So if you're running like a full Universe 6 team, you can't with this character on the team. Because it would, well, first it wouldn't count as full Universe 16, but then it would also not give his scout. Right? Which that does suck. But besides like that, it's like, okay, well, like you float this guy, it's not like it's gonna matter in these long fights where you're gonna build this up anyways, because it's gonna be a thing where they're gonna take like 10 turns anyway. So you can float this guy off twice and then come back on rotation with in hit, and you're at the point of the fight where it's like, okay, now I really 100% need my links and everything like that. You know, it's not bad at all.
No, like I said, I think they are incredibly underrated. I think Truth has said it best that damage is more important this year than it has been. And that is not to say it's more important than defense now, because Tech Goku is a great example of a unit that could possibly hit hard, but he doesn't live to do it, so it doesn't matter. But with all of their dodge and their DR, and the fact that you can just watch them drop like a 40 into a 20, into a 20, into a 20, and it's like, this is free. Int Hit is protecting them and giving them a scouter, so you can freely move them around to dodge whatever they need to. They're not gonna die to any normals, and they have all of their links activated by debatably the best TUR in the game.
I mean,
I think they're underrated.
If we take a look here at their defensive stat, I'm actually gonna literally look for them on your page. We got a lot of festival posts recently. If we take a look here at what you put for their defensive stats, I mean, when they're fully built up here next to in hit, they can hit closer to, you know, with support, they can hit closer to 4 mil defense on certain turns. And it's a thing of 4 mil defense with how much damage reduction? 36%? Am I missing any? Oh no, yeah. They could realistically get 46% reduction when they're fully built up and if you're above the HP threshold. With this amount of defense, they could live like, I mean, they straight up will be able to live like S tier during Super, no? 5.7.
Yeah.
So, like that's really good, and that's like pretty much the hardest hitting like single target Super in the game. On top of that, they will have a chance to dodge it, 66% chance straight up. So they're pretty good. I could see your argument, honestly. I'm gonna say closer to good, and that's because I do like the damage that they're doing, but I feel like they don't have crit, and I think that's really mad. Like this should have also given them like up to at least a 50% chance to crit. Is really all I would change personally. I think there's no harm, because it's like, okay, well, realistically, you could build this guy with full crit and hit potential anyways, so it's not the biggest deal, but it's just with the consistency of having that just in case, right? Would just be very useful.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think there's any argument there. Obviously, just giving them crit would make them an infinitely better unit. Personally, I think their kit is perfect the way it is. I would have snuck some crit in there, but I probably would have done it on their super attack.
Like their super attack effects, like
Yeah, so I think it would, because if you look at their super attack effects, it's their 12 key is greatly for 1 turn, and their 18 key is greatly for 4 turns.
Oh, they have stun
too. Could you imagine? Yeah. Could you imagine if their 12 key was like, I don't know, 16% crit for 1 turn, and their 18 key was 16% crit for 4 turns?
That could be really good too. Like that would.
That
be
way
useful.
they slip back around on their next turn, and they have even more crit. They super, and now they have 32% just built in, just from their SA, not even like their hidden potential.
That'd be nice. I think if they want to do something like that, I'd be fine with that. That would help. Like 36% chance to crit is definitely useful. It's not like crazy, but like it's just an addition that would be welcome.
Yeah, it makes a difference
for sure. All right, so physical Super Saiyan 2 Kale, or Caulifla plus Super Saiyan 2 Kale. Let's take a look here at the votes first. So this is probably the second highest rated character in terms of great, 34.2%. 57.7% good, and then 7.4% underwhelming. Less than 1% bad as well, which, I mean, is that like, okay, there's some people who think, yeah, we see 1.6, obviously 27% for Piccolo, 80% for Magetta, dude. That's kind of insane. So that, yeah, I think this is the second most favorable character of the celebration based off of what we're seeing. I mean, I'm thinking Tech, Caulifla, and Kale, who are next, are going to be higher rated in terms of great. But okay, so majority of people are saying good though. Again, you said you had a few things you wanted to say about this character, right?
Yeah, so this is where I expose just how much Dokkan I've been playing recently. I have used this unit 137 times since they came out, which is not a lot, but that's how many times I've used them. Every single one of those was a festival run. I have run the festival almost 150 times with this unit, and I have made it to at least STR Beast Gohan every single time, which is at least an hour and a half. So I've used this unit probably more than anybody else, including Truth. Man, they're really, really good. They're really good. Like, first thing, their active skill. Caulifla's active skill is such a big deal. It's such a big deal. Because 16% doesn't seem like a lot, and even 32% doesn't seem like a whole lot. But the fact that it's activating in its own phase, first of all, is like, it's obviously way bigger than 32%. But you look at some of the characters that you have to run, that you are forced to run, if you want to run full U6 to take advantage of that, you're running old characters. You're gonna run Tech Caulifla. You probably are gonna run STR Kale. And if you do that, they're like shockingly good still. I had STR Kale, a unit which, you know, all you have to do is have her on rotation with a Caulifla. So that's both LRs, that's Tech Caulifla, and that's EZA Tech Kale and Caulifla. So 4 of the 7 units on the team just give her guard. So you can pretty much just say she's guaranteed guarding.
Yeah.
I had her at 2 million defense on turn 7 with guard.
I mean, for a banner unit, like, that's pretty good.
For like a 4-year-old banner unit, and I said this recently, and I can't remember who I said it to. I think I said it in the debate server. I said, in order for Universe 6 to be where I would consider it a good spot for the team, STR Kale has to be the worst unit on the team. And I think she is. I think now she is. I think she is the worst unit on the team. But a unit with built-in crit that can quad super and have 2 million defense with a guard by turn like 7, and that's your worst unit? You can't ask for much more than that.
Yeah, and the thing about STR Kale is, obviously, as a stacking character that's doing multiple supers per turn, like, she's a character that will age well. You know, we saw Tech Ultimate Gohan aged well. We saw even, obviously, Int Hit, I'm sure is going to be a character that ages well, but obviously the stacking plus guard is really huge. Now, it's not like greatly stacking, of course, but she gets a lot of stats from these links. Plus, of course, you know, having this 32%, like, where is it at? I'm kind of stupid right here, because that's obviously when you use both of them, it becomes 32%. It's pretty massive.
Yeah,
it'll affect characters by a really, really wide amount of rallying range.
Yeah, it even puts like units that are just not in a good spot, like defensively. Like, it will put units that are not in a good spot defensively in a decent spot. Like, to the point, if they weren't living like normals before, if they were completely dodge or die, they can now live normals.
Yeah, and the thing about this character too is they don't necessarily have to be slot one sometimes, right? again, a lot of the events you could run Tech Caulifla slot 1 or some other characters as slot 1. And the thing about this character being in slot 2 that could be really nice is they will get obviously a lot of extra dodge to their super attack effects. In the event 2, they could have just 70% chance to dodge after attacking. With like what, 2 mil defense range probably is what I'm thinking with the damage reduction. Like 2 mil defense range with like 60% reduction is pretty significantly good. And then if we talk about this character in like the difficult fights, like the Jiren fight, where there's an int Jiren, if you somehow are just floating this character around and making your other character stack, this character will just end up being on rotation. So even if you get locked by the int Jiren, these guys will sit in slot 1 guaranteed. And then Caulifla will always guarantee dodge the Jiren super attack, because she has 100% chance to dodge against the first super. She'll be type advantage. And then in the next phase, you can switch to AGL Kale, and AGL Kale is going to live AGL Jiren super for really, really low damage. I've had a turn where she took, I think, double digits with AGL Gogeta's active, which, obviously it's AGL Gogeta's active, but like, I think Kale is so good. I really like Kale here. Kale is so good, and she doesn't really even have key issues.
Yeah, no, Kale is like alarmingly good. So, in one of my more recent festival runs with them, mind you, they are a unit that does not stack in any way at all. They are just what they are. And mine is only 55%. And I never use Kale's active, even though it is good and it makes them hit very hard. I never use it. I always use the double team buff because it's just more valuable. It just is. I got my 55% physical Kale to hit this number I just sent to the group chat without her active, with just the normal team. She was doing that. And she has 3 more attacks coming after that, and that attack is a crit.
And this is where I wish Magetta was Rainbow Orb Changer, just for the consistency of getting these 2 extra supers. But that's not like the worst thing in the world to ask for that, I feel like. I also kind of like Kale's active skill. I think what I do is I use 1 Caulifla active skill and 1 Kale active. And another thing you could kind of do is you could run these 2 as a rotation.
Yeah, you can.
Right? Have Kale in slot 1, then Caulifla slot 2. Like you can't do that realistically.
Yeah. What I have done in Festival, which is what works, is I literally float them the whole time. The entire time they are getting floated, and Tech Caulifla is floating with them. So no matter what rotation it is, there's always a Caulifla on rotation. So anybody that has any Kale that has that restriction, it gets covered. But they float, and after a certain point, Kale can no longer tank, and it does the onus becomes Caulifla's, where she has to dodge, or you will die even to normals. But Physical Kale has been alarmingly tanky in those later phases. Like, again, mine is only 55%, and she doesn't have any of the, like, fancy defense equips that you can get for U6, because they have special silver orbs. She's just as normal as she could be. She was, like, double-digit tanking Tech UI's normals, and they're, like, 4 million.
Yeah, see, because Kale can reach up to, like, 4 mil defense range with guard. Like,
yeah,
she's
actually insane.
Yeah, and it just Kale. That's why Kale's super good, because she can slot 1 that too. By the way, because it's when receiving an attack.
Yeah.
So that's something that she could do before attacking. She doesn't get any defense when attacking. Imagine she got defense on her super attack. There's a reason why they didn't do that, obviously, because the whole point is that she gets her full defense on her turn. But if she like even had a 30% raise, she would be like 5.5 mil defense post super with guard.
Oh yeah, like easily.
And then there's the additionals account as well. Like if her additionals and like if both of these gave 30%, she did 4 supers, her defense would actually be like 8 million plus, 9 million even. Like
Yeah, I mean, she gets to 5 million as is.
exactly. So I mean, that's 120% defense if she would like triple super in that scenario. That's obviously why they didn't do that, because the intention is her getting all the defense here, or else this would have been like lower, right, if they gave her defense on her super attack effect. But it's very crazy. And she does really good damage. Like, it's just kind of just a stat difference. Like, it's just a stat thing, right? Now you could also say this character doesn't have the greatest crit chance, but she'll have 52% chance to crit from the second super attack, because the thing is that her first attack is always critting.
Yeah.
That's, well, I guess, okay, because you could say this is the 100% chance, and then when she gets this off again, the next attack will be 52%, so all of her additionals have 52% plus the 6% from here. So she has really, really good chance to crit, because I feel like someone might look at this and be like, oh, she only crits in the one attack, and then all the additionals, she might not get too much, but just because this character has a lot going on for her. So on her first turn, she also will have the dodge from Caulifla as 3-turn support, right?
Yeah, that's what I was about to bring up, is they will give each other support. If you just get the 18 key with one and then you swap into the other one, whoever attacked before, they're just giving their buff to the other one. So like if you want Caulifla, like if you have to switch into her, say the situation is you're getting supered slot 1, it's the only attack, Caulifla will guarantee dodge it, you need her. You can put her there, and Kale's extra, like, you know, her bonus to crit and everything will feed into Caulifla, and not only will she save your life right there, she'll also do some pretty good damage as a lasting, like, lingering effect from Kale.
Yeah, that crit could be very useful. Because Caulifla doesn't get any crit on her 18 key, so it'll be nice in that scenario. But yeah, no, Kale, I think obviously, especially Kale is amazing. Caulifla is still pretty good too. So there is I would honestly say they're great. But I could see good as well. I think they're definitely great. They're not perfect.
Yeah,
Maybe
I'm putting them in great.
I would say great. It makes sense to me.
Yeah, I don't think any unit from ever is perfect, first and foremost. Literally no unit has ever been perfect. So like every unit's always going to have some kind of issue. The way you judge that unit is just how much does that issue impede them, and their issues don't really impede them much at all.
Oh, yeah, I know, I agree. I think another thing is that, again, not restricted to a certain team. They kind of feed themselves what they want and restrictions. It just, everything blends together very well with this character. I'm a big fan. Really, really big fan. I think they're super easy to use too, so they will be useful.
Oh yeah. Oh, and one last bonus, by the way. They are also an absolute HP battery for their team at almost 30,000 HP.
Yeah, look, if we take a look there, that's the one thing I forgot to bring up. They have a huge HP stat. Goodness. Yeah. Like, that's like a lot of HP. Like, can I sort characters by HP in here? I don't know if I can sort by.
Yeah, you can.
Actually,
well, I mean, I'm in my box, but.
Yeah, actually, it doesn't. It should let you sort by attack, but not. Oh, hit points. Is that what is hit points? Okay. Yeah, they're right here. They're the 6th highest HP character in the game.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
It's crazy. Really, really crazy. Yeah. The thing is that some of these, the SDR gets just 5,000 HP, right? Like in the hit potential.
I believe so.
I think physical is the same with 5,000, no? Whereas physical 5,400. Physical might be
physical
5,400.
Is 5,400.
Okay, it is. So that helps for sure, but I mean, you could see like having a lot of HP whilst being this good is really useful. That's why like Bulma and Future Gohan were very useful because they had super high HP on top of that. So Caulifla and Kale arguably could be the highest rated character, but I think they're going to be second behind Hit. Let's take a look. Oh wow, I think they might be the highest rated. 88.7%.
Yeah, I think they deserve it too.
Versus Hit, who is 77.6. Yeah, this is by far the most favorite character in the celebration. Yeah, that's kind of That's crazy. I actually thought that they would potentially be behind Hit, but they are indeed the most highest favored. Like, if we take a direct look, I mean, there's also less underwhelming. There's 0.1% more bad, but yeah. That is wild.
From all of my use of them, because every run that I've done in Festival with the LR has also been with the EZA. I genuinely cannot recall the last time a unit has just actually shocked me using them.
It's just their stats are just so high. Like, it's not anything else. It's just their stats get so high, right? Especially for an EZA character. Like, they're not a character that relies on damage reduction. They don't rely on dodge. They don't rely on any like special defensive ability. Their stats are just high. That's literally it.
Yeah,
Which is crazy, right? I don't remember the last time a character is like, oh, it's just their stats, right? But that's why I was a little hesitant when I first read their details. Because to me, it's like whenever a character is just stats, even though I knew the multiplicative like stats they had were really high, I'm like, I was still worried about it. But they get multiple 50% stacks within the turn, plus 200%, and then 160% start of turn. What there is crazy. They can get 90% chance to dodge in turn 3. Who knows why? They can't, right?
yeah, that's my whole thing. Is like, okay, I will cop to this. Literally all of my experience with that unit has been in Festival. I have not run a single other event with that unit yet, except Festival. However, based on numbers that I saw in my Festival run, and as early as I was seeing those numbers, it's just so incredible to me that that unit has the amount of dodge that they have when they just actually don't need
They
it.
literally do not need it. Except for that turn 3 in Battle Hardened Foes. But it's 90% dodge. They have a 90%
yeah.
chance to dodge Cell Max's AoE. And then their type advantage
Like-
anyways. So they might even just still live.
Yeah, you look at you look at the bosses like both the Jirans or anything like that, and it's like, dude,
I mean, Kefla
they had
is-
enough defense to face tank you 3 turns ago.
Caulifla is, again, I think all I would change this to crit. Like 6 or more key spheres. The support's cool. I think Universe 6 definitely, like, this giving this phase 2 support is crazy, and it is super good. But I would just make her have like a 70% chance to crit. I mean, make her just have a high, like, she has high chance dodge. Yeah, don't even give her high chance to dodge or great chance to dodge. Just give her high chance to crit and dodge.
Yeah, like
This great chance dodge doesn't matter for her. Like, who cares? Actually, she gets so much defense. It doesn't even
the
matter.
thing with that phase 2 support as well is that, again, you know, you're using units on this team that are like super old.
Mhm.
Bro, even after they EZA'd, most of these units don't even have phase 2 stats.
Yeah.
So she's activating that phase for them, so you get funny stuff like this right here, which is the AGL LR hitting a 23 million attack stat, and it's like, dude, you go watch any other video of them, you go use them,
They're like 16.
they're hitting like 12. Yeah, 12, 14, like around that area, and then she gives them that, and they jump up actually like almost 10 million attack.
It is a nice support buff because it's phase 2, and it's like, you know, this is where we're talking about like 30% or 20% like, well, Magetta is not enough, but this character is doing 30%, which I think is definitely it matters when it's like a multiplicative buff. Like, even if it's like we see characters like start of turn tends to give like 60% stats even, but 30% multiplicative is just better than that. Right?
Yeah, that multiplicative plus the 2 LR active skills, by the way, has actually brought STR Kefla above most normals.
Yeah.
She's at like 3.5 million defense after she supers because of all of the extra help she's getting from the rest of the team.
and the massive amount of extra damage. This character also still stacks attack, so it's a thing of she'll still continue to do more damage. Like, I would realistically, literally just high chance to dodge and crit instead of just great chance to dodge. And then this character's actually perfect. Like, Super Saiyan 2 Caulifla, once you get her out, like, she is, like, what, like, 6th best unit in the game almost? Like, okay, if I sort by updated date, let's take a look here. Like, let's say Tech Vegito and Gogeta, and then Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and the gods. Like, I wouldn't say she's better than these characters. I think she's like Super Saiyan 4 Goku range.
I'm gonna drop a super steaming hot take on you.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I think she is just better than the Tech Gods. The Tech Gods' entire purpose, right, is to be a hard hitter with high defense that dodges. Their defense isn't going up higher than Kefla's. They're not hitting as hard as Caulifla, except for their active turn. They'll definitely hit harder than her.
I feel
so
like...
they're not hitting as hard. They have the same dodge, but she has like triple their defense.
You see, but the thing is that they also have... They do have things to help them out with the guard. They have the damage reduction that first turn. They have the rainbow orb changing. I think all of that stuff combined, even though she's straight up a better defensive character than them, and a lot of scenarios can hit harder, they also have the ease of the consistent damage with the amount of crit that they have. Like I said, the rainbow orb changing, they're always at least super effective. I think that's where I would say that could also consider their active skill. I still would like this character better, but I could see you say that they're especially in that range, which is very funny for a TUR monthly.
Okay, here's the thing though, is that you have to consider that the Tech Gods have all of those extra things in their kit because they need them.
I mean, yeah, but
Tech Caulifla doesn't need anything.
Well,
she's just there. Nothing can kill her, and she nukes everything.
Yeah, but it's like the rainbow orb changing is still super useful, especially because it can 2-turn rainbow orb change, right?
No, it definitely is. Like,
I think you,
of course,
I could see the argument. I just personally wouldn't agree, but I could definitely see the argument. I just think that these characters are providing overall, but I'm not gonna I mean, I personally am thinking because Super Saiyan 4 Goku is in the range of I think that Tech Gods as well. I could see, because if you're gonna put him above, I mean, basically just the fusions range, kind of, right? And then Super Saiyan 4 Goku.
Bro, I didn't even tell you the actual hot take yet. Them above the gods is not a take to me. It's really not.
It's Super Saiyan 4s. You like them better than the 4s?
No, I think she is actually just the best festival unit in the entire game over even Vegito.
I would not agree, but you know what? If you want to say that, go ahead.
So
that's your hot take.
Okay, so here's my thing, right? Here is my... It does not matter how much you stack Vegito, or rather Goku/Vegeta. They will never, at any point in that event, ever be tankier than she is. She has enough raw defense as early as the Int Super Saiyan 4 Goku stage to miss her dodge and face tank Tech Vegito Super for double digits.
Yeah, but that's the thing where you're missing the fact that Vegito also has the Team Protector, and he's just doing that much amount of damage.
So about that, the Team Protector itself is absolutely massive. It's I don't think it's a hot take to say that a target skill is the most valuable skill in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's literally just a better Usher. It's an Usher that still lets you just do a ridiculous amount of damage.
Yeah.
However, it's so
I think
it's
you
so
also
hard.
need to consider that all your runs are on the Universe 6 team as well.
Well, yeah, but that's where they go.
Well, they're not only on the Universe 6 team though. I just realized I spelled Caulifla wrong. I copy pasted it. Huh. Okay, but I feel like you haven't won a single time with that team.
Okay, but the
And-
reason being, it's not her fault.
It's not
It's
her
literally
fault, but you are getting that 32% multiplicative support, which is very massive. Right?
Well, yeah, sure, but
I think that's another
but
thing
you
to
have
consider.
to consider.
That's all I'm gonna say.
No, yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. I haven't beaten the festival run with full U6. It's fucking hard. There's a reason, though. Literally 3 of the 7 units are 5 years old.
Well, yeah, and it's really impressive that team's able to withstand that. But if we're talking about using this character in a festival run and winning, it's gonna be on the Vegeta or the Gogeta team, which they are obviously still very impressive there, or even on just the int hit team where they can get you 20%.
Yeah, but that, I mean, okay,
Their
I
stats
understand
will
what
go
you're
down,
saying.
and that's where my experience with them has been. Is kind of my main point, where maybe that's where we have different views on it. Because you used full Universe 6, I've used the in hit team when I use this character in Festival. So whilst they have a 220% leader skill still, they don't have like that 32% stats, which is maybe where like our overall opinion on this character in that event differs. I'm gonna say obviously no matter what, they're a 9 out of 10 character, and we're just arguing semantics on, oh, is this character 5 or 4 or 3? Like they're in there.
Yeah, no, yeah. Regardless, they're in that range.
And I think depending on the
I-
scenarios, they can look better than some of those characters. Like
Yeah,
this character
okay.
is better in Battle Hardened Foes than Super Saiyan 4 Goku probably.
Yeah. So, okay, I will say the biggest thing for Tech Vegito and Festival, I would say this is probably a hot take. I don't think the Team Protector itself is actually even needed for the team.
I mean,
I
it's
think it's
not,
nice.
but it's more so the damage that's provided.
No, yeah, that's the thing. It's definitely just the damage. Like, there are times where if you didn't have a great time up to the final phase getting AGL Super Saiyan 4 Goku some stacks, there is just the chance he could get his shit kicked in by a super, and there's nothing you could do about it unless Vegito takes it away, which is a value he has. Like, there's no denying that. But you look at the rest of the team, and it's physical Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and AGL Gogeta and all of this other stuff, and it's like, dude, all of these units can just selectively be immortal whenever they want, and they're dodging or countering supers or whatever. And it's like, you don't necessarily need that. What really makes Vegito just absolutely incredible is the damage he's doing. It's just ridiculous. Like, almost no unit can match that. And in normal content, no unit can match that. It's just unheard of. However, check the group chat for this picture right here.
Uh-huh.
I have never seen another unit do this, at all, ever. And the breakdown on that is, she does 4 of those, and let's at max, if all 4 of them crit, I'll just rip the band-aid off. She does 1.7 billion damage to AGL Gogeta. In the 2 turns, so you have 4 turns to beat those final bosses. In her 2 appearances, she will actually do like 85% of his health by herself.
That's very impactful, and obviously it's very good. So I could see your argument for it, and you have technically done more runs than I have in Festival with her, so I don't know. Maybe in times I will agree with you, because this is obviously very impressive, but this is also with the Universe 6 active, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's the thing. U6 still needs juice. Like,
Yeah.
I'm still being forced to use old units to do this.
I think in her peak
But-
in the Universe 6 team, I can't agree because this is massive. But when I talk about her, like, on other teams, like like just in general on average, I'm thinking she's still below the gods and fours, but I could see your point.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Like I said, in normal content, I literally do not think it's even remotely a discussion. Vegito
Oh, yeah.
literally just eclipses all. It's it's such a non-argument. No one can ever make any argument for that until a unit comes out that actually does match him. It's just not even close. Like Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta with like give him 3 counters and maybe he's like in that range. But without that colossal wank, which literally never happens, it's never gonna happen. It's Vegito just alone at the top.
Yeah, Vegeto's very insane, which I guess we're getting things there. So, I mean, what? This is an hour and a half video. Goodness, okay. There's a lot to talk about this, but yeah, let us know what you guys think about this. This, the characters in general. Go vote on the poll if you want. A big reason why I'm doing this video is, well, there's 2 things. 1, I think it's always nice to see what the community just generally thinks. But 2, there's always times where people look back at a celebration and then they straight up are wrong about it or how people felt. And then we could use this as a reference, like, hey, actually, people hate it in hit unreleased. Someone's gonna say in like a year and it's gonna bring this up, right? Tech Blue Goku and Goku wasn't that bad. Just bring this pull up. I don't know, man. The physical Magetta will know this one right here. But anyways, let me know what y'all think. Appreciate y'all for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.